Welcome back to another entry in the monthly series where I talk about my favourite albums that I've released over the past month. I know it's been a while, and I'm sorry that this video is basically releasing in the middle of October, or even late October now, but I've been caught up and busy in a lot of college-related stuff, and I also caught COVID, and I still have COVID as of recording this, which has actually given me a bit of free time, so that's nice, I guess. But I'm back now, kind of. Either way, some interesting things did come out last month, so why don't we have a look at them, because that's really what we're all here for, or at least I hope so. Let's start with something nice. I haven't listened to a lot of Alex G's works, but I've enjoyed what I have heard. There's a beauty in his simplicity, I feel. His music is pretty and relaxing to listen to, and just makes me feel safe. God Save the Animals is a bit of a different tone though for Alex, as it discusses themes such as his religion and newfound belief in God. It seems a lot of artists at some point go through a period where they find God and then write an album about it, whether for better or worse. God Save the Animals sees Alex talk about the quote-unquote bad things he's done, the bad things humanity has done, and is asking for forgiveness from God. And throughout these 13 tracks we see Alex is quite desperate at times. There are some pretty heavy tracks on here, such as Blessing and Immunity, which discuss themes such as drugs and death. But one thing that does persist throughout the album, the same with any Alex G album really, is hope. Alex G will always instill hope, and I love that about him. While I wouldn't consider this to be anything groundbreaking, it is a nice album to listen to and unwind to. It's definitely a fitting solid 8 out of 10. If I had to blame any specific album for delaying me from making this video, it would be this one, because holy shit is this record addictive. Jockstrap's debut album, I Love You Jennifer B, is stunning in every way it needs to be. It's what every debut album needs to be, and that's laying everything they can do on the table, and that's definitely what's done here. Art pop perfection is what's pulled off here, with songs like the stunning Concrete Over Water, which at 6 minutes goes through some of the most beautiful musical passages of the year, and when that electronic breakdown comes in at the 5-minute mark, it's just absolutely glorious. The track knows exactly how to build and build before climaxing gloriously as well. Then we have songs like Deborah, which is a contagiously dancey track with an intro that leads you to believe the exact opposite, begins ominously before falling into this bit poppy beat with lyrics that remind me of Cara Cara Bonito. It's like falling asleep and waking up in a wild dream as you're whisked around the place. It's a fun, catchy, contagious, and ever so slightly unsettling song. The list goes on, with Glasgow just being a generally all-round beautifully written and performed track, and then you have the closer, 50/50, which is just pure chaos. God, isn't it all just wonderful? 9 out of 10. The first time I heard Cosplay / Twin Cities, it genuinely scared the shit out of me because my volume was so loud. The post-punk scene in the UK is absolutely rife right now, as we all know, and another band has thrown their debut album into the ring. Do they have anything new to offer? Yes, actually. Courting show extreme promise with their debut album Guitar Music, because it is an album I genuinely debated giving a 10 on first listen, even though I didn't even like the closer that much compared to the rest of the album. I just love the rest so much. The album has so much personality, lyrically, sonically, and in its overall presentation. It's reminiscent of Squid's debut record, Bright Green Field, from last year, but honestly I think I prefer this album, at least a bit anyway. It takes the chaotic, nonsensical lyricism of BCNR and combines it with Squid's chaotic sonic atmosphere, and that's all served alongside a big batch of pure personality. I saw the band live earlier this month, and it was an amazing gig, because you could tell the band were having so much fun with the crowd, and I loved the way they mixed up their setlist with random bullshit. Post-punk Mamma Mia cover? Fuck yeah. This is a must-listen for me, especially if you enjoy anything from the current post-punk scene. This band shows so much promise, and I cannot wait to hear what they have next. 9 out of 10. I didn't listen to Björk prior to the announcement of this album, but I was excited nonetheless. I really enjoyed the lead single Atopos, so I anticipated its release. Then forgot to listen to it for a whole month after it released. But in the meantime, I did listen to Vespertine, which is an astonishingly good album. Now that I have heard Fossora in its full, noisy, mushroomy glory, I can say that it's a very solid release and one I can see myself returning to. It's nowhere near Vespertine's levels of beauty or grandeur, but it has its own charm to it, and its own beauty to it. Tracks like Ancestress and Victimhood showcase vulnerability, sadness, and fear, which seem to be overarching themes of the album. Björk is trying to cope with her mother's late and sudden passing. We hear it through the sounds in which are produced on this record. It's noisy, it's in your face, but it is still quite beautiful. 8 out of 10. I'm not a drainer. This is my first proper Bladee album. This is basically exactly what I expected, but I didn't dislike it, so it's fine. Spiderr is a fun little album that I can see myself coming back to on occasion, but for the most part, it's exactly what I expected. I really don't have anything else to say about this album. I'm struggling to write anything here, but I can say that it is a 6 or a 7. Sorry. I feel like to a lot of people, this album probably won't do very much for them. But for me, this album was a really pleasant experience. I'm a massive sucker for plain indie rock, and that is exactly what this is. Everything here is executed just to my liking and makes these 42 minutes just fly by. I haven't listened to a massive amount of Death Cab for Cutie's work. I've obviously heard Transatlanticism, and I like it, but I feel like I get more enjoyment out of this record. There's just something comforting about it, but maybe that's me talking out of my indie rock arse. I did grow up on pretty much any indie rock you can think of, including stuff you probably wouldn't consider indie rock, but I do, like The Killers. It's songs like the title track, Here to Forever, I Miss Strangers, and the closer, I'll Never Give Up on You, that remind me of the music my mum would play me as a child. It's nostalgic to hear this kind of stuff again, and only makes me want to hear more of it. This isn't considering the other highlights of the album, such as the grandiose track and single, Foxglove Through the Clear Cut, which has some excellent spoken word storytelling. Everything about this record is wonderful and comforting, and I would highly recommend you check it out. Even if you're not a massive fan of indie rock in general, you will get something out of this. Just maybe not as much as me. I'm still gonna give it a 9 out of 10 though. Let's end this segment with an odd one. For funsies, at just under 100 minutes, this album is a behemoth, and one that I was excited to dive into when I could get the chance. The genres enticed me, and so did the cover art. I really wanted to see what this record was all about. It all looked so cryptic and mysterious. Upon listening, it's both what I expected and also wasn't at all. I was anticipating something that sounded a lot more unsettling, something a lot more unnerving, and something that would send me chills. Current 93 type thing. But instead, this record is 97 minutes of incredibly solid post-rock with some great vocals too. I am a huge sucker for post-rock with vocals though. Songs like Down the Rabbit Hole, Blackout 77, and I'm Okay, Just Not Alright are all stunning examples of this, especially Blackout 77. I think Blackout 77 stands out to me the most because of its use of samples throughout the track and how it blends in seamlessly with everything else. The vocals and instrumentation work perfectly alongside the descriptions of the infamous night the city that never sleeps went dark. There are some odder cuts here too, like track 3, which is mainly just the repetition of the phrase I effiche ti vivonja utan mal und undlige, which is in eternity we wander, aimlessly infinity, for about 6 minutes, with a pulsating metal backbeat. I just realized that I didn't actually write down what language it was. I'm pretty sure it's Swedish, but don't quote me on that. It's a song that really feels like it's marching towards you. Then following that at track 4, it's a song that really we have The Reckoning, which is a song that sounds like it wouldn't go amiss on Death Consciousness. It feels like a deer in headlights not knowing where to go. Should I sprint? Overall, this is a really good listen, and if you have the time, I highly recommend it. The intro track could definitely throw a lot of people off, but if you look past it, or just skip it completely, you'll have a good time. I'm sure of it. A very, very solid 9 out of 10 time, even. Not only were there some great albums released last month, but some exciting singles too. So let's not waste any time in getting into these, so I have to spend less time editing all of this. King Giz announced 3 new albums in the month of October, the third one not out as of recording this. And this was the lead single for, I would like to say, all of them. I haven't actually listened to the album this is off of as of yet, but I'll take that as a good thing for this video. The song is really fun, I can't get enough of that smooth jazz. King Giz have really yet to disappoint this year, and I don't think they will, just because of how prolific and fun they are. How can you dislike this? I wouldn't call it anything near dripping tap, but this track will get you moving for a good 10 minutes. Paramore are fucking back. I'm so fucking excited. This is why their first single in around 5 years is exactly what I needed. Post-punk Paramore. The song's so incredibly catchy and infectious, and it really shows that the band still have it. This is a different direction to their previous album, especially their previous lead single, Hard Times. But honestly, this new sound is incredibly intriguing, and I cannot wait to hear what this album has in store. Someone told me to listen to the song ages ago, but I must have completely forgotten to. I can't remember who actually told me to listen to it, but I've heard it now, and I absolutely adore it. There is a lot going on in this track, so much to digest and take in. I'm a huge fan of this more glitchy, psychedelic take on emo rap that I've been seeing around recently, and I think thus far, this track is the pinnacle. Especially coming from its length at 6 minutes, which is exceptionally long for an emo rap track. I would consider this more to be glitch pop or art pop. This song is absolutely stellar, and you can hear the emotion screaming through not just the vocals and lyrics, but the production itself. Quadeca's next album, I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, is now on my list for highly anticipated albums of the year. No, I haven't listened to the new AM album yet either, so I can write off the song unbiasedly. Body Paint is another amazing single from the band's most recent album, The Car. It follows that same smooth style as There'd Better Be a Mirror, but this track feels much more grand, much more baroque. I think it's baroque. The band seem to be going all out, and I love it. Like I said last time, I think, they're taking the sound they formed on Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino and really refining it and making it something actually interesting and fun. Speaking of Baroque, we couldn't leave the video without mentioning the Queen of Baroque herself, Weyes, and her lead single for her newest album, It's Not Just Me, It's Everybody. Wise Blood's previous album, Titanic Rising, never managed to truly click with me until I heard this song. Natalie has an utterly spellbinding voice, and nowhere is it showcased more prominently than on this track. 6 minutes of pure grace. It only took 6 minutes for her to convince me to change my old middling score for a previous album to a much more positive one. Natalie Merring, you're a goddess. What can I say? And with that, we come to the end of another monthly recap, even if it is extremely late, and I'm really sorry about that. Hopefully this video does release before the end of October, because that would be a bit embarrassing, but we'll see. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you found something, obviously, new to listen to, whether that be from the many albums to the singles. And obviously, again, this part is not scripted, because I don't script the outros, because it's more fun that way, isn't it? But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed what I had to talk about. You'll see me again probably quite soon, because I'll have the October video out in hopefully early November. So you'll see me again pretty soon. And I do also have ideas for some other stuff I want to do, hopefully. And still other videos I have not finished in the backlog. But either way, you probably don't care about any of that right now. In fact, most of you probably clicked off the video at this point, it's over. Either way, I'm glad you watched to the end. That means a lot to me. If you want to support me in any way, because this video probably isn't going to be monetized due to copyright stuff, you can obviously subscribe and like the video, but also donate to my Ko-fi, which should be in the description below. And with that, I have nothing more to really say. Goodbye, and I hope you have a great day. That sounded really fucking awkward, didn't it?